On February 20th, 2021, many players like myself all participated in probably one of the greatest events in all of Pokemon Go history. This was none other than the Pokemon GO Tour Kanto Event. This event gave shiny variants to the other Kanto Pokemon that weren't already able to be shiny. This also included the mythical Mew. But if you thought that getting Shiny Mew would be a cakewalk, think again. Getting Shiny Mew is nowhere near as easy as it was getting Shiny Celebi. Players had to complete the special research that came with the event. Afterwards, players were given yet another set of special research known as the Masterwork Research. This special series of research task sets were meant to be completed over a long period of time and not in one single day. Upon completing the research, would players then earn their encounter with Shiny Mew. I'm BVMSerious, and this is my progress report on the all-in-one 151 special research. Before we get any further into today's video, I do want to take this moment right now to say that in order for this video to have been made possible, I pretty much had to take daily screenshots of all my progress that I've made during the time frame in which I still had the special research. However, there were those few of days in which I did end up actually forgetting to take a screenshot of my progress that day, but as I'm showing this progress on screen, I will be doing my best to keep that progress as close together as possible. And also, a good majority of my viewers are not already yet subscribed to my channel, so if you're one of those people, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new future content from this channel. But anyways, with that being said, let's get right into the video. So getting into the first set of tasks, this first task set was actually very easy. However, it took me a lot longer to complete than I hoped to because I have just been very busy outside of Pokemon Go and I just haven't really had much time to do it. But the first task was actually completed already for me, which was to earn the Platinum Medal for catching all 151 Kanto Pokemon. Which essentially that meant you had to catch all the regionals, the legendaries, and even Mew from the Mythical Discovery Special Research. And if you happen to have been one of those people that got really unlucky and you don't already have all the regionals or the legendaries or even Mew, then you pretty much have to wait a really long time before you can actually make any more progress with this research. Because without the legendaries or the regionals or Mew, you're not going to get much further than the first task set. Because right now, in order to get the regionals or any of the legendaries at this very moment, you would literally actually have to trade for them. Like, no exceptions unless they decide to bring them back into like 7-kilometer eggs or bring them all back globally to raids or whatever the case may be. You're not going to get any further than the first set if you haven't already gotten that. As for sending 151 gifts to friends, this is where it actually took me a very long time to complete. Because, I mean, obviously sending gifts to people is very easy. I just couldn't really make enough time to be able to do so because, like I said, I've just been like very busy outside of Pokemon Go. So yeah, it's been very crazy lately. So in due time, I was able to knock out this task with no problem. And I knew going into the next set I would probably end up regretting this, and when I go to talk about the next task set I'll explain why that is. But as for 151 Great Throws, this was actually very easy and I was able to knock this out almost immediately. I really just had to make sure I was like timing my throws right to be able to make those Great Throws, and also finding like big Pokemon in which the targets were very big to make the Great Throws was actually very easy on those. So all in all, the first task set, like I said, really wasn't that bad. It was just a matter of I needed to make time to actually complete it. Getting into the second set of tasks, this is where I said that my regret from not completing the last set in time actually comes into play here, because one of the tasks that I had to do in this set is that I had to catch 151 different species of Pokemon. And by the time I got to this task set, we were already out of the season of Celebration and we had already moved into the season of Legends, so essentially I basically missed out on some of the spawns that were only appearing during the season of Celebration, and actually the Kanto Celebration as well, which took place immediately after the GO Tour event. So I basically missed out on all of those spawns that I could have actually gotten to count toward this task here, and I was only seeing the spawns that were only appearing during the season of Legends. So essentially I had to pretty much work harder to complete this task, but I was able to knock it out with no problem. I was using the Season of Legends spawns to my advantage. I also had some stockpiled field research Pokemon that I was able to catch to count toward the task. I was also just doing a bunch of raids too for like different Pokemon that were able to count toward the task. I was able to knock out that task with no problem. But the one task in this whole set that gave me probably the most anxiety was having to catch a Pokemon for 30 days in a row. And really doing that, like considering I try to play Pokemon at least every day, like this really wasn't a huge problem to me. But just to think that if like there was a day that I had accidentally forgotten to log into Pokemon Go that day and catch a Pokemon, and if I were to be like very far into the task, it would just like be a royal pain to have to start that all over again and then have to like go another 30 days to try and complete the task. But fortunately this did not happen, and I was able to knock out that task with no problem. And in all the other tasks that you see, I pretty much had to catch 30 Pokemon of each and every type. And a lot of these were really no problem at all. However, like the fighting types and the fairy types gave me a little bit of trouble, but I was able to knock those out with no problem at all. Now the ones that gave me the most trouble were the dark types, the ghost types, the ice types, and especially the dragon types. During the time frame in which I was actually doing this research, I was hardly seeing any of these types wandering around in the wild at all. And I pretty much had to wait until certain events happened later on in order to capitalize on completing these. And especially the dragon types. I just don't see dragon types very often at all in the wild. I mean, I have seen a few of like Dratinis and Gibbles wandering around in the wild, but even then that wasn't enough. However, it did make things a little better knowing that Gibble was actually the featured field research breakthrough Pokemon for the month of March, so getting some of those actually helped out a little bit. But anyways, the first of these 4 that I was able to complete was the 30 ghost types, because Drifloon ended up becoming a very common spawn during the Weather Week event that took place back in March. So I was able to catch a bunch of Drifloons, and I was able to knock out my 30 ghost type requirement. And then, during that same weekend of Weather Week, Rayquaza ended up making its appearance into Tier 5 raids, and despite how busy I was able to knock out as many Rayquaza raids as possible, and I was able to catch enough of those for that to complete my 30 Dragon-type requirement. Not to mention, 2 of these Rayquazas I ended up getting were shiny, so that was like 2 guaranteed catches, like almost right off the bat. So, I mean, and honestly, you can't go wrong with shinies, of course, so. And at this point, that pretty much just left me with the dark types and the ice types. Now, when it came to the dark types, I did see that Murkrow was actually in Tier 1 raids during the Weather Week as well, but I just didn't really complete enough of these raids to complete the dark type requirement. So I pretty much had to wait until the beginning of April, in which we had that little prankster event where Ditto was actually appearing more frequently, and Purloin ended up becoming one of the common spawns because Purloin was being added into the Ditto pool at this time. And who would have thought that one of the most useless Pokemon, at least in my opinion, actually would become most useful? So I was able to capitalize on this, and I caught a bunch of Purloins. However, some of these ended up being Ditto, so that was kind of annoying. But I was able to catch a bunch of Purloins, and that pretty much knocked out my 30 Dark type requirement. And as for the 30 Ice types, I went to an area where there were like 3 Pokestops very close together, and I sat down in an area and just plopped on like 3 Glacial Lures on each of the stops. I got a bunch of ice types to spawn in, like Snowrunts and Spheals and Snovers. Pretty much any Pokemon that was an ice type, I was able to complete my 30 ice type requirement before the lures disappeared. And so by the time I actually completed all of this, I had already completed my catch a Pokemon for 30 days in a row task, and that allowed me to move on to the next set. Alright, getting into the third set, and this is the set that upon completing I would be able to get my encounter with Shiny Mew. So obviously the first task was already completed for me because that was basically for me to reach level 40, and I've been level 40 since at least the middle of 2019, so yeah, that was obviously a very easy completion right there. And the next task was for me to spin 151 Pokestops, which took me a little while to do, but I was able to knock this out with pretty much no problem. And obviously the next two actually took me the longest time to complete, which was to complete 151 field research tasks and to walk 151 kilometers, because I did actually try to get out as much as I could to do both of these, and because I would actually ride to and from work, that's about 2 miles both to and from, so all told that's about 4 miles the whole day. So I actually try to have my game running as I was doing that and try to actually render as much distance as possible to knock out this requirement quicker, but it definitely took me a lot longer than I hoped. And actually this whole task set took me a lot longer to complete than the last set did because of this. And another one that also kind of took me a bit of a while, but was also pretty straightforward too, was for me to catch 1,510 Pokemon. The real motivator actually behind this task was Snivy Community Day, because I got to this task set in April, and just in time for Snivy Community Day. One of the featured bonuses for Snivy Community Day was Triple Stardust, so I mean, if that's not enough of a motivation for me to go catch Pokemon, then I don't know what is. So yeah, I definitely took a huge advantage of that Triple Stardust and caught as many Snivies as I could, and I was able to pretty much bang out a good majority of this task, and that pretty much relied on me actually catching a bunch of other Pokemon too, but also this one, like all the other tasks, were really not that bad, so I was able to knock this one out with no problem at all. And so pretty much it was just like a battle between completing 151 field research tasks and walking 151 kilometers, and this actually went on for quite a while, and there was actually a point where walking 151 kilometers actually ended up surpassing completing 151 field research tasks, which to me I find that's actually quite amazing. And the other thing is I usually try to reserve at least one completed field research task for the day so that I can use that towards getting my field research breakthrough, because obviously if I don't have a task saved up, then it'll take me a little longer to get to my field research breakthrough. So I always see to it that I complete at least one field research task a day. But obviously if I wanted to get done with this task much sooner, I pretty much had to be a little more diligent and take more responsibility in actually going out and getting those field research tasks and just completing them. And in due time I was able to knock out both of these. Like I said, it took me a very long time, a lot longer than it did the last task set did, but it was all worth it because I was then able to get my Shiny Mew. And now I will show you guys the clip in which I finally obtained my Shiny Mew.
Alright, we are going to claim our Shiny Mew here. Alright, here it is. We got our Shiny Mew here, and alright. Oh, there it goes. It's going invisible now. Oh, there we go. So I guess we can't use any other balls on this thing, unfortunately. Yes, we got the Shiny Mew finally. There we go. Alright, what's the CP on it? 1368. Still not bad though. I'll take it. It's still a Shiny Mew, but now I finally have one that I can use in the Great League.
So there you have it. That was pretty much me getting my Shiny Mew, and according to the stats it really wasn't that bad. Obviously I was hoping for better. It's definitely better than the Mew that I had first gotten from the Mythical Discovery Special Research. But hey, I mean, it's a shiny, you know, you cannot complain about that, especially the blue Mew. I love the blue sheen that's on Shiny Mew. It just looks amazing. Not only that, but I now finally have a Mew that I can actually invest into for the Great League, because the other one I actually ended up powering up over the 1500 CP limit, so now I can only use that for like the Ultra League or the Master League, whichever one I decide to choose. and I know a lot of people tend to run Mew in the Great League more so than in the Ultra League. And then obviously getting into the final task set, which I unfortunately did not get a screenshot of, but it didn't really matter at this point because it was pretty much just like all tasks that were automatically completed for me just for the simple sake of like completing the entire task set. And I was pretty much just able to redeem all the rewards that came from this, and I was able to get some Mew candies, a Shiny Mew t-shirt, and some other really nice goodies out of it. And so yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for the all-in-one 151 special research. And with that being said, we have officially completed everything, and I mean everything, that the Pokemon GO Tour event had to offer. So all in all, I really had a lot of fun doing the GO Tour event. So yeah, by the time I had completed this special research, I had already gotten to pretty much the end of the month of May, which is perfect timing because we had just now started the season of Discovery and we have already left the season of Legends. How long did it take you guys to complete the research, and how good is your Shiny Mew? Let me know down in the comment section below, but otherwise, that is going to be it for this video, and as always, if you enjoyed this, then please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Also leaving a like and a comment won't hurt either. But anyways, that is it for me today. I'm BVMSerious, and I hope you guys have a seriously amazing day. Thank you so much for watching.
We officially have completed the whole second set there. We have our star piece on, ready to get everything. Yep, we are officially ready to complete this set